Hey guys, I'm glad you stopped by. So today I thought we would make something really kind of cool. I've been into all these like new areas of food making as of late, especially since I had surgery, which this may be my first video back since surgery. And if it is, thank you. I'll probably keep saying thank you forever, just because there were a lot of you guys out there that gave me a lot of moral support. That means the world to me. You have no idea, really. And even though it was just getting rid of some kidney stones that had, well, one in particular that built up was 18 millimeter, which is, huge, 3/4 of an inch. And having to get rid of that was an experience all in itself, and I don't ever want to experience that again. It was worse than just trying to get rid of them a little bit at a time, hands down. But, luckily, like I said, you guys were there to support me in several ways, words of encouragement and otherwise. But I wanted to start a video series. It's kind of like canning, and it's all leaning towards being prepared for the most part. Now, here, I am a prepper, and if you ask me, I'll tell you that, but I don't prep for doomsday scenarios, so to speak. I don't buy into the whole, the end of the world is coming, and, and we have to prepare for it. That I don't buy. Not that I'm not, on a side note, somewhat prepared for it. I mean, by being a prepper of any kind, you're somewhat prepared for it, but what I am prepared for is long, cold winters, times of sickness, like when the pandemic hit and everybody was in their houses forever and a day, couldn't really go to the store, wasn't really allowed to hold by at the store, so I was, but I was prepared. I was prepared for that. I had stuff canned up, processed, dry goods, things like that. And this is no different, but this one's gonna be a fun one. It's Dijon mustard. I ran across this on Facebook of all places, since I've been off the last few weeks with after post-surgery, I've had time to be on social media a lot. And this Dijon mustard, I was like, oh, that's how you make Dijon mustard, right? And I'm not following that recipe exactly, mostly because they didn't give measurements to a whole lot of things. And I'm learning quickly, it just comes down to taste. But I did find a recipe that was similar to that one that was shown, and I'm combining the two, and I think we're gonna learn how to make Dijon mustard today. I know we are. And I think it'll be wonderful. So that being said, if you're new, welcome. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, we do all things food, and it's all based on being a good neighbor and communication. Comments, always welcomed. All I ask is you be nice. You can disagree with me or anybody else in the comments. That's fine, just think before you type. I always respond to comments, and I encourage the diversity in the food world. You may do something different. There is nothing traditional on my channel. What's traditional for me may not be traditional for you. So anyhow, why don't we head on down here to the counter, where I'm going to give you your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, along with milliliters and grams, and that way everybody can play along no matter where you're at, including the giggly one back there. All right, I'll see you here down at the counter in just 1 second. All right, we are down here at the counter. So the only thing you're really going to need for this, at the moment at any rate, is a bowl. We will eventually need a blender, or a mixer of some sort, but a processor of some sort. But for right now, just a small bowl. And to this bowl, my very first ingredient is going to be mustard, and it's mustard seeds. Now, this recipe called for a total of 6 tablespoons or 60 grams worth of mustard seeds. I do not have dark mustard seeds, and I could not find them in my area. I was not going to order them on Amazon. And it said that was an option. You didn't have to use them. The dark mustard seeds actually make them spicier. And unfortunately, living in a smaller town, we don't have a world market or someplace you can go and just buy anything like we did when we lived in the Columbus area. I mean, we're close, but like I said, I live in a small town for a reason. And this is just one of those throwbacks to being in a small town, is you can't get quite the variety you had. That's all right. So instead, I opted for 6 tablespoons, 60 grams worth of yellow mustard seeds, You know, just the seeds you always buy. We actually buy mustard seeds when we can to process pickles, and we always have leftover. You know, when we do pickles, when I do sliced jalapenos, we always have some leftover. What do you do with them? Well, here's an option, right? Now we vacuum seal ours now, so that way they last forever. I mean, they last forever anyhow in seed form. Unless they get mildew on them as a seed, they last forever. So, into our mustard seeds, we are going to add a 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, right? And then 1 teaspoon, and that's 3 grams, and 1 teaspoon, 1 gram of white pepper. Now, I suppose you could use black pepper in this also, but white pepper does have a unique flavor to it. It's really good. I mean, it's a little spicy, just like pepper, but it's got its own unique characteristics about it. And it's not that hard to find. I mean, they sell it at any grocery store in the spice aisle. You may have to look for it and dig a little, but it's usually there. So we're going to throw that in. And then I've got 1 tablespoon, 15 grams of minced onion. This one I thought about for a little while. Do I want to use dried minced onion or regular minced onion? And I ended up going with regular minced onion because I wasn't certain. And I'm going to make a second batch just to see if I'm right. But because this is going to have to sit in the fridge with liquid on it for 8 hours overnight, which is 8 hours in my mind. And I want to see if dehydrated onion, minced onion, will rehydrate. Because even though we're going to blend this, I don't want the crunchy in there. So I just went with the regular old onion, 1 tablespoon, 15 grams worth of just diced up onion. It wasn't even but about 1/4 of a small onion. So if you're meal prepping and you got a diced onion anyway, voila. So got that in there. Now the last 2 ingredients we need to add in here, which there's actually 3 left, but we're only adding 2 of them right now, and that is 1/3 cup, 90 milliliter of apple cider vinegar. Now you can use just plain old white vinegar. You can, instead of that, just regular good old fashioned white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, give it a bump. Or another one I'm going to try, I have got a spicy vinegar that my sister-in-law Heather actually bought me for Christmas. And I want to give it a try in it also, so I'm going to do one with that in it also. With the onions, you don't have to use onions, you can use shallots if you have those ready available. Now the other option we have here is 1/4 cup. I'm using just regular old water, but if you like a dry white wine, I would say go ahead and put that in here. Not that I'm against using wine in my mix by any means, but I don't really want to buy a whole bottle of wine just to use 1/4 cup of it. I would much rather just use water. So last thing we got to do is we're going to stir this up real well, and then I'm going to put some saran wrap over the top of it. Don't stick your face over top of this, by the way, because I mean, like right now, bam, right in my face. The vinegar is just kicking at me. But I'm gonna put this in the fridge covered with plastic wrap for 8 hours, and when I come back, we'll look and see what we gotta do next. All right, hold on for me 1 second. All right, guys, so we let our mustard seeds, onions, and all that sit in the fridge for about 8 hours, and see, you can tell it really, I mean, not only did it soften up the mustard seeds, but yeah, everything got soaked up. The seeds actually soaked up a good portion of that vinegar. Now, next on the agenda is to get this into a cream form. The recipe that I found said to put it in a blender. Now, I have like a Ninja 6000 or something like that, but it's a big blender, and that's just an itty bitty little amount. So what we did, because I actually made a second batch using the vinegar that my sister-in-law Heather got me, which is a honey sriracha vinegar, and I used our bullet blender to mix this one up. And let's see if we can look real quick here, but I don't know if you can tell, especially with the sunlight coming through, but it is a little grainy, which I don't mind grainy. But then, as Chris and me were talking about it last night while sampling this, which this turned out amazing. If you like the recipe, just let me know. it was absolutely no different than what we've done just with the specialty vinegar from Twist of Olives, which is actually here right in Ohio, in Central Ohio, in Westerville. But I can give you, I'm sure they ship. I'll find out. But anyhow, she didn't think it was smooth enough. I liked it. I like a grainier mustard though. So she suggested using an immersion blender. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and take our immersion blender, and we're going to go ahead and get this mixed up till it's nice and creamy. All right, so we got it blended up. Now I did end up adding about a tablespoon's worth of water in there because it was just a little thick for my liking. But there we are, all the same. You know, and you can do that. I mean, you can add it. You can, you know, you can't really take it away, but you know, if you need to, say like it's really super thick, because like this mustard here, and I think it has a lot to do with the vinegar in this case, but this was just fine. I didn't have to add anything to it. It had a nice, you know, mustard smooth consistency to it. This, on the other hand, was a little thick. I mean, it's still a little thick, but I like it about this consistency. You can make it your own. It's beautiful. So all we have left to do now is go ahead and put it in this jelly jar for storage. All right, guys, so we got it packed in there, and all I did, because you're gonna find you got air holes all through it as you're putting it in. It's worse than icing, really. When you're trying to put it in a piping bag, get those air holes. So all I did was just take a knife and go ahead and work my mustard all the way down there, and then when you're done, just go ahead and level it off. Because since we're not water bath we're not canning this particular recipe, we can fill it all the way up to the top. It won't make that big a difference. So now, all we have left to do in this case is grab a cracker and give it a try. So at this point, there's a couple things you can do. We're gonna give it a try, and if we find it to be, say, too spicy, or you know, the acidity is all, you know, it's just too acidic, we can add brown sugar to it. The very last ingredient in this recipe, which I don't think we're gonna need, only because I've had it on, maybe had it on my fingers and tried it, is a half to 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, which is 7 to 15 grams. And that's just set aside in case you want to add a little bit to it. But I don't know if we're going to need that, but we're going to try it right now and see. And then we can take it from there. That is perfect. Now, ooh, that is good. I have to make me another one. I will say, if you do not like, because that's got a kick, which you're probably thinking to yourself, why does it have a kick? And I don't have an exact answer for it, because we didn't put exactly anything truly spicy in this. I'm gonna say it comes down to my mustard seeds. Because I've had those mustard seeds forever, and I couldn't tell you, are they truly yellow mustard seeds, brown mustard seeds, combination of both, but I'm pretty sure they're yellow mustard. But if you follow this recipe, I would probably, and you're not into a nice kick, I would probably put maybe a half a teaspoon, or a half a tablespoon, no, a half a teaspoon of brown sugar in there just to balance it. But this is really, really, really good. If you like Dijon mustard, I think you'll like this recipe. So, how do we store this? Yep. Sorry, I didn't want to talk about my mouthful. So how do we store this? We're going to put this in the fridge. It is good for anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. Maybe even longer, but at maximum 2 months is what the original recipe that I looked at said. And most recipes for just refrigerator mustard say the same thing. If it starts to dry out, or looks funny, smells funny, tastes funny, just like canning, go ahead and get rid of it. It's not that big a deal. But this was really super easy to make, and it required not heating up an oven or a stovetop. This particular recipe Yeah, I mean, you could can it, but you'd have to like quadruple it if you so desired. But I am researching a canning version of spicy mustard. I think I found a recipe I really like, and I think I'm going to shoot a video on it here in the near future for a shelf-stable Dijon. But this is really, really good, and there's so many options involved. You can truly make it your own. This is also, I mean, it doesn't have the wine vinegar in it, because I didn't see the sense, and nobody here really drinks white wine, so I didn't want to waste the money on a bottle, so we opted for water. We used all yellow mustard seeds instead of brown and yellow combination. I mean, there's just really so many different things you could do with this. So give this a try and let me know if you do. You won't be disappointed, not by any means. At all. So you can leave me a message down in the comments or over on Facebook with the Facebook group if you so desire, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, or you can just find me on Facebook. It's Brian Smith, it's no secret, and I'm public, so you could easily find me if you have a question or a comment, concern. But all the same, let me know if you do. So I don't know when this video is coming out. It's probably going to be my first video back from surgery, like I said, and if that's the case, we are doing dessert tomorrow, and I think it'll be something you really like. I mean, I don't know exactly yet, but we'll figure it out. But until then, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you smile. Tell them that. I know it will. And if you make them a jar of this Dijon mustard to put in their fridge, or show how to, or get together and make some together, it's going to put a smile on their face. It's going to lead to good conversation, and that's important, especially nowadays. The world seems to be an interesting place to live, and I think this Dijon mustard could be the key. Who knows? So anyhow, till next time, I love you, and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.